Hey, YouTubers, it is Code again, and we are back with Battle of the Games. We are here with,
Go to Zoom Spider.
and today our episode will be featuring the Jack and Daxter trilogy versus.
Ratchet and Clank trilogy. Well, the original three games.
Okay, let's start with our first game in the lineup, Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. Basically, it was developed by Naughty Dog, same as Crash, and it was a third-person platform, open-world collectathon game. You go through area to area, collecting everything you can, beating enemies, collecting power cells, and basic thing. Jack, the basic story. Basically, Daxter falls into this pool of magic stuff called Dark Eco, and I could go in more develop, but I'm just gonna make this fast. And he turns into this animal Otzel thing, and Jack has to bring him to this guy to turn him back to human. But it all winds up anyway.
Your pretty generic, storyline that they've whipped together as fast as they can so they can get straight to the nostalgic gameplay.
But when you get to Jack 2, as Kota knows, all hell breaks loose in the story. So as it's simple, it's simple. Let's go to Ratchet.
Well, Ratchet and Clank is more of your faster paced game. It doesn't rely much on story. It starts quickly off as aliens are running amok on your hometown planet. You're a guy named Ratchet, mechanic guy. You're somehow really good at guns, and that is never explained in the story, but it's good nonetheless. And you get a little buddy to follow around. His name is Clank. He is useful for certain utilities at first. And the game is semi open, but kind of linear in a sense where you have select objectives to do, but you have to find the objective you have to do across a vast number of opportunities across each level. The combat is more fluid, I would have to say, than the Jack games I've played, and less melee, more relying on gun control, and you'd have and levels are taking place on planet to planet. You have to travel around in this little RV thing. The only thing that bothered me about it was Quark. He was annoying in every game, but those little missions he made you do when you were trying to go through combat courses. Helga was funny as hell, though.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Oh, what? I found her hilarious.
You completed the gun course. I mean the course. Please pay for your swing shot.
Please pay for your swing shot. Yes. And her Russian accent. Is it Russian?
I think it's Russian.
Hmm. So that sums up the first game. Basically, with your smart-ass Ratchet with your smart-ass Clank. That's basically how it is.
Yeah, good summarization. Now for the second game in the series, Jack 2. Unlike the first game, which was rated E, the colors remained relatively good. The color palette was bright. But now we're brought into the future of Jack and Daxter through a teleporter.
And it's a much darker theme. That's what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say. You wouldn't talk about the color palette, you just say darker theme.
but the theme and the color palette are much darker. Like it has a main focus of dark night cities and gray buildings, rather than the light
Like your
green palm
big
trees.
generic big city, right?
I don't know about your general big city. It's more just think of it as New York City. It's like New
Or
York City.
Chicago or San Francisco. Looks just like them.
Whatever. Yeah, with the garbage can fires and all that.
Mm,
Yeah, general stuff. But in this game, they brought some improvements to gameplay. Rather than collectathon gameplay, it's mission based and it involves action and violence and punches and believe it or not, like Ratchet, Jack took its idea of gunplay and added in 4 gun mods for one gun called the Morph Gun. Basically, use it. It's really versatile. Even though there are only 4 mods, they can be used in really good, really well, I should say. You have a shotgun, a flash, your standard rifle, machine gun, and electronic missile launcher. They're really fun to collect, but the main problem I have with this game is that it's actually really hard. Some of the missions will kick your butt hard, and it really frustrated me on some of them. But overall, Jack 2 is much better than Jack 1, and even though I played Going Commando all the way through and it was much better than the original Ratchet, I would go with Jack 2 mainly because after getting pummeled multiple times on a mission, finally beating it was so satisfying, more satisfying than anything in Going Commando I could do. So what do you have?
I have to say, when it went into going commando, there weren't many improvements except for it made the combat better. And I don't know about you, but the combat between Ratchet and Jack, I have played both games. I played the original Jack and part of the second one, and it just didn't hold me as long in the combat because it was all mainly based on punches, and it's hard to believe one guy with his fists can beat the crap out of all these people. Now, take a guy with all these guns, and he's more of a agile creature. He is. So they messed around with strafing and they improved platforming a little bit. I can't tell you much about the story. I have it the foggiest at the moment. I am really, really tired. I am sorry. So
Just know that even though the story has never been driven in the Ratchet games, Going Commando basically has the weakest in cliche.
yeah,
So, which one would you prefer? Going Commando over Jack 2?
I prefer the first Ratchet over both of those games.
Beside the point. We move on to the third and final game of the original trilogy. And in Jack's case, it would be the final good Jack game and the best Jack game. I bet so for Ratchet 2, but beside, I am backing Jack.
Of
Alright,
course.
quiet. Anyway, Jack 3 is, of course, the third game in the Jack trilogy, and in this game, the story was not as good as Jack 2, but was much more compelling and relatable because had joined this one man in the original game, and his friendship with him made the city fear him, and they exiled him for it. And Jack, thinking that the city betrayed him, he didn't want to save it anymore, and the constant battle inside him between should he help the city, should he not, was relatable. I mean, if a city exiled you from it, would you be so quick to save it?
Not really, no.
Exactly. But beside the point, the improvements to this game
But
are,
I would still save it.
yeah, but would it be easy to?
Yes.
Really, these people throw you out in a desert to die, and they expect you to save them like you're their friend again. It's so easy to make a decision like that.
You save them, you flip them off, and you walk away. You do the honorable thing. You show them you are a nice person. They should have kept you, and this is what you freaking.
Can I finish this, please?
Yes.
Okay. The main characters are Jack and Daxter, of course, even though the name of the game is Jack 3. And we get a few new characters. I'll talk about that in my Let's Play, but beside the point, there is a father figure for Jack, and he's pretty cool. I will say. If I didn't have a father myself, I would think of him as a father. But anyway, let's go to the gameplay. The gameplay adds way more than Jack 2 ever could have. In Jack 2, they added Dark Jack, which is basically a frenzified version of Jack, where in hand to hand combat he is unbound. There's no one that can beat him. They also added Light Jack, which has defensive and healing abilities, which is my favorite version of Jack. And you can even use guns while also using these light abilities, which blows Dark Jack completely out of the water. And they also multiply the gun mods you got in the original game by 3. You have 3 red, yellow, blue, and dark mods. So in total, that is 12 mods. Did I do that right? Yeah, 12 mods. So the gameplay more relied on guns, well balanced missions, not as difficult. The game was a lot more rewarding, getting a lot more stuff, actually getting armor to increase your health. It's the best Jack game just because they took what was good in the first game, the easy fairness balance, and they took the hardcore stuff from the second game, morphed it into a game, and made it the best Jack game made yet. I pray for Jack 4, but in comparison to Ratchet Up Your Arsenal, they have a similarity. They were decreased. They were decreased. They what? I'm comparing which one. This will take 5 seconds. Okay. They both Jack 2 was the longest and Going Commando was the longest in the respective series. They decreased the time by about 13 hours. They were both about 13 hours. So that's rather similar, but because Jack has more guns, he has better ways to take care of combat.
Jesus, could you drag it out any longer?
Yeah, I could. I just feel that Jack 3 is the best game and better than anything Ratchet has spawned anytime. So, let's hand it over to Kota after 5 more minutes. Okay, go ahead.
First thing I have to say is something I forgot to state. In all three Ratchet games, there were armor, even in the first game. Am I correct? Yes.
There is not armor. You can increase your
Well,
health,
no.
but not through
You
armor.
in the second game they introduced armor, going commando. Sorry, I haven't played the first or the second one in a while. I'm a big up your arsenal guy. It was the first one I played back. Actually, I think I got it the year or the year after it came out. Um, I was young then, and that quickly became my favorite PlayStation 2 game. And what I liked about it is the customization you could have on the ship and how you could and you there were a lot more guns, I'd have to say, and they had renamed the. It was confusing to me. Like I remember the Blitz gun, and then there was some other name for it.
Shock
it.
blaster.
The Shock Blaster, which made no sense to me. The Blitz gun sounds better than the Shock Blaster. I mean, what are you gonna do, though?
It is. It really is. And what's ironic is the blitz gun is in multiplayer.
Yes, it's called the Blitzgun in multiplayer. Multiplayer is one thing I like about Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. You could do online multiplayer, and it was in the first PS2 game, but it didn't work that well without an add-on. But in the PS3 versions, which were the collection discs that me and Code have, you can do online multiplayer with up to three other people, and even local co-op you can, or not co-op, local battles you can do multiplayer with, and that I think would be a big thing to challenge Jack with. Whereas it didn't have any multiplayer whatsoever. And with Up Your Arsenal, you could unlock these little cartridges of video games, and you could play a side-scrolling platformer. There were like 6 levels on it, and it was the Quark campaign. And you had to do this, and as you saw this, and Quark narrated the game, it's kind of funny, actually.
I hate the man.
And he's a bit amnesia. He has amnesia in the beginning of Up Your Arsenal, and as you play the games, he slowly gets his memory back. And he remembers he's Quark, and he's the egotistical, how does his ego even fit in this universe? Selfish, stupid, and
Overall, just
cowardly Quark.
overall, just a douchebag.
Yeah, but he's a good role model for the kids. And in this, it introduced Clank levels where you could play as Clank, and this was the inspiration for the Secret Agent Clank games. And I enjoyed these levels. I really did. It had more puzzle aspects than the rest of the game did. The rest of the game was more platforming and shooting, run and gun. But you also had vehicles in this game and optional missions you could do on almost all the planets that you could help out that could and give you more bolts that you could use to buy new armor and buy better guns. Buy better guns. And as you used guns, they upgraded into the next form, which is something I really enjoyed. And Annihilation Nation was something that kept me interested for a long time. It was a whole bunch of challenges that it made you do on this combat course that it generates for you. I don't think it's randomly generated, but it randomly picks different parts of the level for you to do, depending on what kind of thing you pick. And then there's also an arena thing involving Annihilation Nation, where you either fight a boss or waves upon waves of enemies with one weapon or a set amount of ammo, and you have to do it all within a certain time limit. And the story was pretty good, I have to say. It was the best out of the rest of them. I remember it the most, and this is the game that kept me influenced for a long time. And this has more meat to it than the Jack games I've played. And the original games of Ratchet, it has way more meat to it, and more more replayability, and it can keep you there. If you get tired of campaign, play a optional mission or Annihilation Nation, or I wish they let you. Can they? Yeah, they let you replay some missions of the game and redo any of the optional missions and any of the Annihilation Nations, so you can keep going to your heart's content.
That's actually true. If once you beat the game, you can completely beat it again with all the gear you got from the first playthrough.
And in my personal opinion, that beats Jack, mainly because of the multiplayer and the customization of the optional missions. Jack, I don't know if it had optional missions in Jack 3, did it?
In Jack 2 and 3, but you had to get to certain areas, and then you can interact with these terminals to find precursor orbs to unlock stuff. So they did have optional missions, but you didn't get far enough to play them.
No, I did not. But the multiplayer kept me there for a while. When I got bored with all the single player, I'd grab my brother or my sister, and we'd sit there and we'd play split screen, and that was a whole lot of fun. And there were a couple different modes. One mode was, your typical deathmatch, third-person shooter. You go out and you kill each other. But then there was another mode where one person had a base and the other person had a base, and there were nodes all over the map which had robots at them and turrets. And if you stole this node, they would turn from neutral turrets to yours and neutral robots to yours, and they would kill the enemy players. But they could steal the node, and then it would go against you. And these were all over the map. And the goal was to destroy the inside of the other person's base, and which ended up being pretty difficult to do at some times. But that is my complete analysis of the original Ratchet games, and they just are better than the Jack games, in my opinion, because they add in that it has platforming, it has puzzles, it has guns and a good combat. It's fluid and good vehicles to use in combat, and good stories, and overall optional quests are fun, and multiplayer was great.
I will not deny the quality of the Ratchet games. I will not. They are great games, and in 3 months, my relationship with Ratchet games turned from meh to great. No,
Because you got the collection.
yeah, because I got the collection. Even though it was $30, which is $10 more than the Jack collection, it was still awesome. And I will say this: the replayability is much more influenced in Ratchet and Clank. Jack, all you have are missions, and the missions aren't very appealing. Yes, but the campaign I felt was more fun. And yeah, you can't hold as many weapons in Jack 2, but in Jack 3 you can hold way more weapons than Ratchet can. 12 over 8.
Actually, with Ratchet, you have 8 guns in one slot, but in up your arsenal, you get tools and things that you use for the puzzles. Does Jack have puzzles?
Puzzles? Yes.
Puzzles.
Yeah.
Using not just platforming puzzles, even like mini game puzzles and other types of puzzles.
Yeah, even in Jack 2 there was this one mission where you control Daxter, where they have a game aligned like your controller, and if you push a button, it's like a whack-a-mole game.
Ah, yes. So in Ratchet, you unlock 8 tools for the puzzles, and each one is
Yeah,
basically a mini game for the puzzles.
those gadgets are fun to use.
Hmm.
But yeah, they are both very great series. But I've said once, and I'm sorry, my grammar is off today. I'm having throat problems. I apologize for my grammar. I know I've messed up a lot. Ugh.
I'm tired as hell because I had my eyes dilated today. I saw the optometrist. I'm sorry.
I know, but I'm having grammar trouble. You're not. But I could go into more depth, but I won't waste your time with why I think the Jack games are better. I'll just say, from all of the experiences I have had with all three games and beating them and just feeling the rush, I'm gonna say I will give the Jack trilogy a 9.5 series rating.
Are you asking me what I'd give the Ratchet series?
Yes.
9.7 out of 10. The
Oh,
first trilogy.
are you just doing that to spite me?
No, I'm being honest. I do not, I repeat, do not like the Future Series games except for the spin off type games like All for One and Full Frontal Assault. I enjoy those games, not the future games. I've played them, they just don't hold me.
You have to include those too. Like, you have to include all the spin-offs, every game you played in your series rating. So, with the disappointment of the future
No,
games.
I am only going with the original trilogy because Jack only got 3 games. And they were around the same time as the first original Ratchet games, so those are the only ones we are grading at this point in time.
Fine. Until they make Jack 4, which I really wish they do. Then we'll move on to that. But
Hmm.
I respect your opinions, Kota. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for giving me your opinions on the Ratchet series. Thank you for being in this episode.
And I was happy to be here, and thank you for listening to my opinions. And what are the viewers' opinions?
Yeah.
Seriously, put them in the comments below of Code's video. He'd be happy to read your opinions. Hell, I'd be happy to read your opinions.
Yeah, I mean, just because I prefer Jack doesn't mean you can't. I'll give my opinions on your opinions. There's no reason why. Just blow off in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Tell us
Hey,
what.
hey, 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 all of you, say Ratchet's better.
Shut up, everyone. Hey, hey, hey. Say Jack's better.
Hello!
Goodbye.
Don't do it.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
He's biting you.
We'll see. We'll see. They will all say Jack's better. We love Jack, don't we? Don't we?
Oh, the spiders.
Oh, everyone, please.
Spiders. Say Ratchet's better.
Oh yeah. Just a quick question before we get to this Whisper match. Are we gonna have a Jack vs Ratchet battle to end this video? Well, for another day.
Maybe.
For another day. Post your opinions in the comment box. I'll read them and message them. If anyone does, probably won't. But if you
And
do,
I will reply as well if I see any. Just Code has to tell me so I can reply.
don't worry, I will. But this has been Code, and
Go to Zoom Spider.
I'll see you in another match between.